All right, the Detroit Lions get more good news after they just trounce the Titans. Do yourself a favor and really go to Twitter, X, and look at, I mean, it is just blown up with every different stat that you can think of from this game. It's crazy. So my favorite one, I was going to read off a bunch of them, but my favorite one is that in the last 4 games, the Lions have scored more points than 14 NFL teams have all season. So they have just been on a roll. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, it's been awesome. So I love seeing that. Before we get into this, if you haven't seen, we have a links in the description. We've got we got merch out there. The well is deep. That's our newest one. Remember, that's what Ben Johnson said when it comes to trick plays. He's just like, why don't you just calm down? Because we run like 90 of them, and he's like, the well's deep. So that's out there. Check the link in the description for that. Now, here's what happened that is just perfect after the game. So you win. A, you win. B, you get everybody involved. Special teams, all 3 phases. Everything looks good. We'll get to everything looks good. Not really, actually. We'll get to that in just a second. But 52 points. Let's go. Life's good. Here's what's kind of interesting about it, and let me pull this in here, is the Lions sit atop of the NFC 6-1, but the big news was that, man, so nice. The Vikings lose on Thursday, and then the Bears. That was such a huge loss for them. You can see that they're right in the hunt, all good, but 4-3 versus being 5-2, gaining momentum, the whole thing. It would have been just like, oh, dude, the Bears? Really? Like, I didn't really count on that one. I didn't really have that. So here you can see it. So Minnesota and the Bears, that just kind of alleviates the pressure just for a second. That's just huge. I mean, because we can go against the Packers. A win there would put us 7-1, them 6-3. And you just separating a little bit more. So it was great to see the NFC lose a couple games. I mean, the Packers almost lost. The other good news, and you don't root for injuries, but it's just good news to see that Jair Alexander is probably out for the Packers. They have a safety that's probably going to be out. Jordan Love, of course, is going to be, he probably plays, right? But could be not as mobile as he usually is. So because of the Hutchinson injury, you don't apologize about the other teams being injured. No, I mean, right? You never did before, but it's like we've got our best players out. So yeah, we'll see on the field. I think that was the good news. Not only you get the win, you dominate 52 points, and then the NFC North, other teams lose. But the other thing that I think I heard Dan Campbell say it, and I was like, kind of surprised. I don't know. I just didn't make sense. He's like, we didn't really play that well. I'm like, we didn't? I mean, right? I know it was kind of crazy. And by the way, one last other crazy stat. I know you've heard it probably by now, but Jared Goff had 85 yards passing, and we put up 52 points. So if you just saw that score, you'd be like, whoa, man, what'd Jared do? Throw for 450, 6 touchdowns? It's like, no. 85 yards. And so the best stat for me was that we were 5 for 5 in the red zone. The red zone for offenses is what every offense is trying to figure out. How do you score? It's condensed. Those same 11 defensive players are now only having to defend a shorter field and not as much space. It's difficult. How do you get in? How do you score touchdowns in the red zone? How do you do it? How do you do it? How do you do it? The Lions 5 for 5 easily too. Like, just wide open stuff. That little like fake reverse thing to Khalif Raymond touchdown. David Montgomery throws it. And by the way, let me know in the comments. We put this question out there. Who is our QB3? Is it Amon-Ra St. Brown or is it David Montgomery? I say David Montgomery because you can do a little wildcat. You can do pound wildcat, and then he can throw it if he needs to. But I don't know if you saw that. He was a high school quarterback, both him and Amon-Ra St. Brown. But that throw was real nice. And but Amon-Ra made some really good throws too. I feel like he'd be like engineering the offense a little bit better. I feel like you can trust his hands a little bit, so he'd be kind of doing some read option, maybe a little bit more than David Montgomery. He feels more like a a bull in a china shop back there at quarterback. He'd be fumbling it. I don't know. David Montgomery, though, is who I would say. Let me know in the comments. Okay, Dan Campbell said that they didn't play that well. And I was like, all right. Here's what he means. Here's what he's talking about. Taylor Decker kind of got beat a couple times, man. Goff got smoked a few times for not really throwing that many times and being up like we were. It's like, dude. Arden Key, Justin Simmons beat Decker pretty cleanly. And this is after last week he got beat pretty good by the Vikings, dude. So it's like, shoot, Taylor Decker, and now he's going to go against Rashawn Gary. Don't love that. So Taylor Decker, that's one, didn't play very well. The other one that didn't play very well was, Kirby Joseph got beat a little bit, end up having the interception. Amik Robertson got beat a little bit, end up having a couple fumbles, so love that. Brian Branch was kind of quiet. It was, Alex Anzalone looked like. So here's my thought on the defense. I think the defense is fine. We're different now without Aiden Hutchinson, obviously. But it feels like good offensive coaches, Matt LaFleur, can expose us because we play up in your face, man coverage, and we don't have a pass rush. So two things happen when you don't have a pass rush. You can't cover guys forever, or you're going to hold them pass interference. And so I say good offensive minds because they know that we're in man. And there's ways, and we're trying to prevent them. We know this, but you can expose us because we're going to be in man. So there's plays specifically for man coverage. And I just feel like a lot of teams try to play us in a certain way that's like, oh, we got that. You can't do it. But if you come out with Malik Willis, and this is the Aaron Rodgers theory. Aaron Rodgers comes out, he's got the ball just at his hip, and he's just looking deep and wants to make the play and wants to make that sick throw. And it's like, you had a guy right there for 5 yards, and he's probably going to break a tackle and get 8. That's what Malik Willis is going to do. They're going to scheme it up for him. Easy throws. You saw the Seahawks do that to us a couple of years ago when it was like, oh, Geno Smith's in. Like, what's he going to do? Oh, he's just going to go boom. Misdirection, guys coming across here, bang, bang, 5 yards, 8 yards, 10 yards, 5 yards, 4 yards, 8 yards, 10 yards. And you're just like, oh, my gosh. Right? Not even looking for the big play. Just going to start kind of going here and there. And that's my fear against our defense. Without a pass rush, it's hard. It's hard. Now, Dan Campbell did say in his press conference today, he was asked, let me look at it here really quick because it's about perfect. He was asked whether a trade could happen soon, and he smiled and said, yeah, there could be. What I love about Dan Campbell is he's just like, he can't not just be authentic and real and just be like, yeah, there's probably something coming. So there's something coming. There has to be. I think we all see it. It's beyond like yelling and screaming about. It's officially like, yeah, we need to do something. Like we're gonna. Now, one more thing here. The Lions are opening up as favorites on the road. 4.5 point favorites. That is a big number for being on the road against a Packers team. That makes me happy because Vegas is not dumb. So, love that. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Again, if you're new to the channel, make sure that you subscribe. If you're not new and you've been watching for any length of time, make sure you subscribe as well. We'll see all of you on the next one.